Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're digging into something really interesting you brought us. It's the bodily and mental benefits of plant-based diets. The author is Reuben, Onunga. And look, this is definitely not just another diet book, right? Our mission really is to get how Onunga weaves all this together. You know, ancient wisdom, spiritual stuff, modern science, all pointing to what we eat. We'll explore the whole picture, body, mind, even the spiritual side of going back to plant-based eating.
It really is fascinating. And the author, well, he comes at it from a unique angle. Onunga, he's a civil engineer deeply involved in his community and a writer. So he's not just looking at, say, the science in isolation. He's building this bridge, connecting biblical ideas, Ellen G. White's prophetic counsel, wisdom from different cultures, and yeah, the hard scientific evidence. It all leads to what he calls life reform.
Life reform, I like that. It's bigger than just food.
Exactly, much bigger. It's holistic.
Okay, so let's start where he starts, right at the beginning, Eden. What's the message there in Genesis 1.29 about the original diet?
Well, Onunga presents it not just as history, but as a divine blueprint. Genesis 1.29 mentions plants yielding seed and trees yielding fruit with seed. So fruits, grains, nuts, seeds. The book emphasizes this wasn't random. It was apparently designed for optimal strength, clarity, longevity.
Tied to human purpose, you mean?
Yeah, and even a kind of communion. Then the book points out something pretty stark. After the flood, when meat was allowed.
A concession.
Right, a concession. Lifespans just plummeted. Onunga suggests that deviating from that original fuel source had, well, serious consequences for human durability.
Wow, that's quite a connection to draw. So if that was the blueprint, how did things change? And this leads us to the next big piece. Ellen G. White in the 19th century. She wasn't a scientist, yet her writings, like Counsels on Diet and Foods, sound incredibly modern.
It's a really interesting part of the book. Onunga acknowledges the spiritual source of her insights. She advocated, through what she described as prophetic guidance, for simplicity. Fruits, grains, nuts, seeds again. And she warned against meat, coffee, tea, alcohol, rich foods, long before labs could show why.
So how does that connect to today? What's the validation?
Well, that's the thing. Her counsel is being echoed by science now. She talked about intemperance in diet leading to disease and even affecting moral strength. And now we have piles of research linking high meat intake to heart disease, diabetes, some cancers.
Right.
And we know how stimulants affect mental health, anxiety. Her view was so holistic, body, mind, spirit, all linked through diet. It was, frankly, way ahead of its time.
It really was.
Yeah.
But, okay, for someone listening who's maybe a bit skeptical about the spiritual side or purely focused on science, how does Onunga make that connection convincing? How does he bridge that gap without just saying, believe this?
That's where he's quite skillful, actually. He doesn't force a choice. Instead, he presents the modern scientific findings as a kind of validation, an empirical rediscovery almost. He leans on that ancient idea, you know, food as medicine. Hippocrates said it millennia ago. And then he layers on the cutting edge research to back it up. It's like saying, look, the evidence converges.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's talk about that evidence. For you, the listener, what does the science actually say? The book talks about food as medicine. Can you give us some concrete examples of how these plant foods work?
Absolutely. Connecting it all up, science is basically documenting what was understood in other ways before. The book goes into detail about antioxidants, right? In dairies, leafy greens, they neutralize free radicals, those damaging molecules. Think of it like preventing rust inside your cells. Then there's fiber in whole grains. It's not just for digestion, crucial for heart health, blood sugar control. Legumes, beans, lentils, powerhouses of protein and fiber. Sustained energy. And Onunga mentions specific studies, like from Dr. Dean Ornish, Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn.
Ah, yes, the heart disease reversal studies.
Exactly, showing that whole food, plant-based diets didn't just prevent heart disease, they could actually reverse it. Same for improving type 2 diabetes significantly. It's not just prevention, it's actual healing.
That is incredible, thinking of food that way, therapeutically. And you mentioned it's not just the body. The book looks at nutritional psychiatry, too, the mind. How do plants boost brain function and mental health?
Yeah, this is a really growing field, and Onunga covers it well. So first, omega-3s. You get those from flax seeds, walnuts, crucial for memory, building healthy brain cells. Then B vitamins and whole grains, legumes vital for neurotransmitters. Those regulate mood, focus, sleep.
Okay.
The antioxidants we talked about, they protect your neurons from stress, potentially slowing decline. But here's something fascinating. The The gut-brain connection, a healthy gut microbiome fed by plant fiber.
All those good bacteria.
Exactly. They play a huge role in stabilizing mood, reducing depression and anxiety rates. This science supports what Ellen G. White was saying about mental clarity and diet. It's all connected.
From the gut to the brain. Amazing. But it's not just scripture and science, is it? Onunga also looks at traditional cultures. What patterns did he find there around the world?
Yeah, he does this sort of global survey. It's quite powerful. He looks at diverse groups: Africans with millet and sorghum, Asians with rice and veggies, Mediterranean diets, Native Americans with corn, beans, squash. The common thread: they all traditionally thrived on simple, mostly plant-based diets.
And the results.
Chronic diseases, heart disease, diabetes, many cancers were incredibly rare. Until, that is, modern processed foods started moving in. High sugar, bad fats, more animal products. These traditional ways of eating weren't lab designed. They grew out of living in balance with nature. It's global proof of that Edenic pattern.
It does feel like we lost something important along the way. Now, the book also directly tackles the flip side, the dangers of flesh foods. And this isn't just modern concerns, but older warnings, too.
Yes, he addresses it directly but carefully. He points out that the permission to eat meat after the flood came with restrictions presented as a concession, not the ideal. Then he aligns Ellen G. White's warnings: meat burdening the body, dulling the mind, impacting moral sense, with modern science.
Which says,
Well, the links are pretty sobering. Heart disease, definitely. Cancers, processed meat is a group 1 carcinogen according to the WHO. Same category as smoking.
well,
Higher risk of diabetes, shorter lifespans. And Onunga also touches on the industrial meat system, antibiotics, hormones, and the risk of zoonotic diseases jumping from animals to humans. It's a complex picture.
it really is a lot to think about there. Okay, let's get practical for you listening. What are these powerhouse foods from the original design? Onunga calls them a quartet of health. Can you break those down for us?
Yeah, he describes them beautifully, this quartet. First, fruits. Nature's candy, basically. Packed with fiber, vitamins like C, loads of antioxidants. Think bright colors, berries, oranges. Good for immunity, cell protection, quick, clean energy.
Okay, fruits. Got it.
Second, nuts. Small but mighty. Ancient survival food, right? Great source of protein, healthy fats, minerals. Walnuts for brain-boosting omega-3s, almonds for vitamin E. They keep you full and provide steady energy.
Nuts. Number 2.
Third, seeds. Often overlooked, but they're like concentrated life force. Flax, chia, brilliant for omega-3s, which help with brain function, inflammation, plus protein, minerals like magnesium, zinc. Tiny powerhouses.
Seeds. Makes sense.
And fourth, whole grains. The staff of life in so many cultures. Oats, quinoa, brown rice. They provide slow-release energy, great for digestion because of the fiber, and protect against chronic diseases, not like refined grains that cause energy spikes and crashes. Together, this quartet offers a pretty complete nutritional package.
That paints a really clear picture. Fruits, nuts, seeds, whole grains. Okay, this sounds great in theory, but for you listening, living in the real world, how do you actually do this? Making the shift can feel daunting. What practical advice does the book offer?
Yeah, Onunga gets that this is a big shift for many people, a paradigm shift, really. So crucially, he stresses it's a journey, not an overnight flip of a switch that just leads to feeling overwhelmed. It starts with awareness, just noticing what you eat now, non-judgmentally, then education, understanding the why, and tackling myths, like the protein question.
Right. Where do you get your protein? Everyone asks that.
Exactly. Then, gradual substitution. Swap white bread for whole grain. Maybe try one plant-based dinner a week. Small steps. He also talks about getting creative in the kitchen, using spices, exploring different veggies so it doesn't get boring, and finding community support is huge. Plus, he frames managing cravings as a form of self-discipline, tying it back to that spiritual aspect of temperance.
So it's about empowerment, knowledge, and gradual change. Sustainable change.
Precisely, making it doable and lasting.
And for real-world proof. Solid evidence these principles work. The book highlights the blue zone, specifically Loma Linda, California. What's the story there?
Loma Linda is fascinating. It's basically a living example. It has a high concentration of Seventh-day Adventists, and they live, on average, 7 to 10 years longer than typical Americans, with much lower rates of chronic disease.
7 to 10 years longer. Wow.
Yeah, it's significant. And Onunga points out it's not just their mostly plant-based diet, though that's key. It's the whole package. Sabbath rest, strong social ties, avoiding tobacco and alcohol, regular exercise, and a deep sense of faith and purpose. It's tangible proof that this holistic approach, this life reform, really delivers results. Health isn't just one thing, it's how all these pieces fit together.
That really drives home the holistic point. It's the synergy. So bringing it all together, the book talks about health, holiness, and wholeness, an indivisible whole. Can you unpack that final, complete picture for us?
This is really the capstone of the argument. Onunga encourages seeing diet as more than just fuel. It's almost a spiritual practice. He explains how physical health supports mental clarity. A clear mind, in turn, helps with making sound moral choices, connecting with your purpose. True wholeness, he argues, is found in balancing body, mind, and spirit.
And the plant-based lifestyle is a tool for that balance.
A powerful tool, yes.
Mhm.
When combined with rest, community, faith, it helps maximize potential. It adds healthy years to life, sure, but it also deepens our capacity to serve others, to live purposefully. It's about the quality and impact of those years, too.
What an incredible journey we've been on today. From Eden's blueprint through prophetic insights, cultural wisdom, right up to modern science, all converging, as Onunga shows, on the power of plant-based living. It's clear this choice goes way beyond just food. It touches every part of who we are. It's about longevity, yes, but also vitality and purpose.
Absolutely. And the book leaves us with a challenge, really, to see food not just as casual consumption, but as a kind of sacred trust, a foundation. It's a call to align our daily habits with this deep, timeless wisdom, to nourish our bodies for service, our minds for clarity. So maybe the question for you listening is this: what's one small step you could take today towards this blueprint? And just imagine, how might that simple choice ripple outwards, bringing not just better health, but maybe a deeper sense of peace and purpose into your life?